Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still he answered the call. And we said, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still he answered the call. And we said, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. We got a lot to talk about. The weekend was crazier than God knows what. And Donald Trump is doing what Donald Trump does. And I voted for him to do what he's doing. But you know you got people out there who now some of them want to backtrack, and we'll just let it play out and you will see what happens, because a lot of people are wanting to backtrack because they jumped down Donald Trump's throat because they are the ones that have changed their minds. They are the ones that have changed whether or not they care about Iran or not. They're the ones that changed whether or not they wanted President Trump in office or not. Donald Trump hasn't changed. Donald Trump has said, I don't know, for 10 years that Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. So did Barack Obama. I don't think there's a president that exists that believes that Iran needs to get a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump just has enough balls to actually do something about it, to actually take risks and chances in order to get us in a position that we're stable and that we're confidently ahead of the game. And everybody's crying about there's going to be a war, the World War III, World War III, World War III. If you do things the right way, you eliminate the possibility of a World War III. If you don't do anything and you act like Iran is, I don't want to go to war. We don't want to spend any money on the war. Then a couple years from now, we're going to be in a war. Because if they get enriched uranium, have a nuclear bomb, they will use it. They will use any dirty tactic that they can to what? Cause death to America, death to Israel, death to our allies. You name it, they'll do it. And then we have to bust their head to the white meat at a time that is more crucial. Maybe at a time where America is not strong enough to really carry out the strikes that we need. But Donald Trump did exactly what he should do. We got a whole bunch of clips to talk about. I also want to talk about this shirt that I'm wearing right here. Obviously, if you're not a supporter of Israel and you don't like Israel or whatever, don't worry about what I got on. Just keep watching. Just look at me from here to here. But if you're one of the people that really support Israel, obviously supporting America's best interest, then this shirt is for you. Get one. There's 2 organizations that we're going to use proceeds from this shirt to give to. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to give to both or just give to one. One is the undisclosed one right now that I got to verify first. The other one is the International Fellowship Between Christian and Jews. I've raised money and helped them in the past, and proceeds from the shirt may just well go to them. And it's helpful to Christian and Jews. So people are like, you did Israel first. No, it's America first. But I do love Israel and I do support the Israeli people. All right. Let's move to a couple other things. Donald Trump responded today, and after the strikes overnight and all of the tactical things that we've heard from all of the officials about, we'll probably get to those in a second. But Donald Trump came out and made a statement about the developing news of them striking back and trying to hit our military bases in Iraq and one in Qatar. Now, let me just say this, and Nick could be a witness to this, is that he was getting ready to read Trump's statement. I said, wait, don't read it. I'm going to guess what it says. And y'all, I don't even have to read this. Y'all can read it on your own. But pretty much is what it says is exactly what I thought it would say. That they had to save face. They did it when we killed Soleimani, and they're going to do it now. I don't know if it's religious purposes that they have to save face, but they have to save face. So they're going to do little weak strikes. They notified us first, so there's no casualties. They did a strike where majority of the bombs got intercepted and one made it through somewhere that didn't hurt anybody. No military personnel was hurt. No civilians were hurt. It's as far as what we're reporting right now. I don't have any information. If it changes, I'll come back and say it changed. But at this point in time, there's no evidence that there's any damage done. What did they do? They had to save face. They had to put out a strike, so they retaliated. And Donald Trump pretty much in a statement is like, okay, yeah, we got it. It didn't hit nothing, so the public knows. And now it's time to have peace. And he not only suggested peace from Iran, he also suggested peace from Israel. And I'll read this part right here. It says, I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. How do you have a problem with the way Donald Trump has handled this thing from start to finish? How is there a problem? I do not understand whatsoever how someone would have a problem with this situation. Donald Trump stepped in when he needed to. He stepped in with authority and firmness. He showed that we're not going to be played with on a national scale. He warned Iran that they cannot have nuclear capacities, and they had it, so he hit them. And then he's now saying, because we're not going to get endless wars like some of these people who turned on Trump is saying, is that he said, now that we've done that, you retaliated. We don't need to come back and retaliate. This is just a show. Now we want peace. And he not only did he say it to Iran, he also said it to Israel. For all you people that think that Donald Trump is bought and paid for by Israel, no, he's not. Let me say this real quick, and then I'm gonna go to some videos. This is American first policy. I don't know how people don't see this. Stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon is America first. Helping our allies in the region to neutralize a threat that hates America and hate everybody else that has any Western values is America first. What's not America first is not doing anything because you want to capitulate to people who are lukewarm and vacillating at best, or not doing anything because you're too afraid to take any action. So you pass it down to the next president. That's not America first. But standing firm on principle, utilizing the men and women who work hard to be able to defend our country, both foreign and domestic, utilize them at a time that it is needed to utilize them, coming in swiftly with no injury, no casualty, no boots on the ground. That's America first. And I'm trying not to get worked up because people have worked me up on this just a little bit, because I don't like to see people turning on this country. I don't like to see people get so weak and emotional that they don't understand how we got to where we at. We don't get here through diplomacy alone. Sometimes talking ain't enough. Sometimes you tell your kid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, that's not, now I got to start whooping. Now I got to get on your head. Now I got to get ugly. Now I got to be mean dad. That's what I tell my youngest. You want me to be good dad, nice dad, or mean dad? At some point, me talking to you and telling you you can't have uranium, or you can't have a nuclear weapon, me telling you and going back and forth with you, sometimes I got to put the belt to behind. Sometimes you got to get that smoke. You want the smoke, I give you the smoke. And then you realize you don't want the smoke. I can't stand that weak mentality. And I feel like it comes mostly from women. Now, there's men that do it too. But you got to be some type of real soft for you to put on the uniform and say, I didn't come here to fight for that. To some degree, I get it. But to the other degree, then why did you join the military in the first place? Just like the police department. Police don't get a chance to say, well, I ain't come here to do that. I know I did. I signed up to do what I'm supposed to do. Am I violating the Constitution? No. If I'm not violating the Constitution, I may not like every law that's on the book. I may not like every operation that we have to have or that we have to participate in. Does that mean I'm going to quit as a cop? No, it doesn't. I signed up, put that badge on, raised my right hand, swore to uphold the Constitution, and also things that I like and don't like. You think I want to be out here put my life on the line for a Satanist? I don't care. I got to put my life on the line for every single person in the community, whether you're a Satanist, whether you hate Jesus, whether you're a homosexual, whether you're the homosexuals, what they call it, the head of the sexuals. It don't matter what you call yourself, whether you trans, whether you like Trump, whether you don't like Trump, whether you hate America, whether you flying a Mexican flag. I didn't show up to defend only what I like and what I don't like. If I thought that I would have to defend things that I don't like, I wouldn't sign up. But while I'm here, if a person who's homosexual called 911, I'm putting my life on the line for that person. That fool that commit a crime every other weekend, I'm putting my life on the line for that person too. You don't get to choose. Same thing in the military. There's some good and there's some bad. Sometimes you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. Under a Trump administration, I think you're pretty safe. I think everything that we do, all the operations that we do are going to be in the best interest of America and not political expediency. But the man and the woman that put that uniform on, whether you put it on under Barack Obama, whether you put the uniform on under Joe Biden or Donald Trump, you should be honored, you should be supported, and you should carry out the mission of the commander-in-chief. And if you don't want to carry out what the commander-in-chief calls you to do, then you should not be in the military. That's all I'm saying. And I get it. We may have to put the boots on the ground. I may have to get involved in some stuff myself. But you know what? I love this country and I'm willing to fight for this country. And let me tell you why real quick, and I'm going to shut up. Because there were people who fought in Vietnam. There were people who fought in World War II. There's people who went to Afghanistan and Iraq, and they didn't get a chance to quit. They didn't get a chance to say, I'm not going to serve in the military because I don't agree with this. Some of them died. And then you think you big and bad enough, you get to just do what you want to do. What about the people who died in these wars that we now know, sometimes at the time we thought was pointless? They died. They didn't get a chance to back down. They didn't get a chance to walk away from conflict. But you know what? We wouldn't be free without people making a sacrifice in times that they don't even want to do it. Think people want to sit up under the ocean all day in a submarine? Nah, man, they don't want to do that. But sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do. Long as you ain't hurting kids unjustifiably, which means that you intentionally hurting kids. Sometimes you got to do some strikes and people may be collateral damage. But as long as you ain't doing nothing like that, you stand firm. You stand by your country. She may be wrong sometimes, but you stand by thick and thin. I stand by America no matter what. We have some of the most corrupt people in the world. We have done some of the most heinous things in the world. But am I going to back away from my country? Am I going to leave my country? Am I going to trash my country every day I wake up? The devil is a lie. In my carnal body, I'm going to stand for America. I will fight for America. If I got to put that uniform on, I'll put the uniform on and die for this country. And I don't got to like everything. But I tell you what, we're pursuing excellence better than anybody else on planet Earth. And I will die for this country now. And I don't get to pick, well, I'm just going to die under Trump's administration. No, I will die for this country no matter what. Because I believe that my sacrifice will lead to a better America. I hate the sentiment of, well, I don't like this guy. I'm not going to serve. Or I'm going to quit the military because I don't want to fight this war. Well, come on, quit then. You got a contract. Did you sign a contract? Ain't you obligated to be in the military and on reserve for 6 years, 8 years? Okay, that's what I thought. Be a man of your word. Be a man of integrity. And stop voting for stupid people. Vote for people like Trump that's willing to fight and not going to let us sit over there for 20 years. How about we do that? All right, let's get on. Donald Trump made a statement of a lifetime, in my personal opinion, and I love what he had to say. And I think every man that's standing there behind him, I respect dearly. And I think that they all deserve respect. Run the clip.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
How are you not inspired and feel confident in the leadership of a man that talks like that? I'm so sick of us capitulating and being soft. Iran, we better not mess with Iran. Putin already came out and said that ain't our fight. I don't get it. Okay, so Donald Trump said that. This is something that popped in my mind. I think is very important for you guys to know. So I just thought of this. I was like, okay, they want to retaliate, but they know they didn't do it. They didn't do any damage or anything. Do you guys understand why? Because they have state-run television. So nobody in Iran knows what actually happened outside of what they tell that happens. And so I think personally, to save face to Iranians, which is like 90 million of them, which I didn't know that many people lived in Iran, to save face to their own people, they struck America back because they won't tolerate what America did. I think the people that live there don't even know what America actually did. They probably under the impression that they were attacked, and then Iran retaliated. And who knows what Iran is telling their own people, because they have state-run television. Now, I know that Elon Musk came online and it was a discussion about Starlink so that the people could communicate with each other and overthrow their government if they want to. And also Donald Trump made mention about regime change. Let me touch on that topic real quick, and then we're gonna watch a couple of other videos because I think are very important. Donald Trump made a tweet, or truther, I don't know, whatever that is called when you make a post for truth. And he had made mention about regime change. Now, the people who hate Trump, and I don't think they hate America, but they just too soft for me. They just too soft. They're just crying about everything. You'll be at a war. If you want to go to war, let's do it then. All right, let me get off my soapbox. But I don't think Donald Trump is saying he wants regime change in Iran. But I think Donald Trump is speaking about an issue that people avoid talking about. The people of Iran don't want the regime in place, and the regime is hurting them. Iran used to have a supreme leader, or whatever they would call a leader in their country, that had peace. I saw Patrick B. talk about this on his show, that for like 38 years at the establishment of Israel, Iran had no wars. And then when the people who were in charge of Iran, I forget the name of the family or whatever structure it was. And now we have the Ayatollah and all that terrorist activity. They've been the leader of terrorism ever since then. The Iranian people don't want that. You look at anybody that know anything about history, Iran used to be a very nice place. Women used to be liberated, for the most part. Now they got to wear burqas, and you take your burqa down, they throw you off a building or something. Women are oppressed. You know how deranged and psychopathic it is for you to make a woman cover herself from eyeballs, just eyeballs be out like this. Sometimes their eyeballs ain't out. They got the eyes, and they got a sheet over the eyes with a net. It's like a net. They looking through a net. These women's whole life walking around in a net. And last time I checked geographically, it's hot. What God are you serving? Got a woman, but the men don't have to do nothing. You see a woman with the burqa and all the eyes covered. She ain't got nothing showing. Fingernails ain't even showing. But then the man with flip-flops. You insecure, weak weirdos believe that a woman should be wrapped up and tossed up like that, and the man get to do nothing. He ain't got no veil on his head. He ain't doing nothing. He wearing a t-shirt and shorts with the Dodgers on it. Like it ain't even Islam. You got random clothes on, and she wrapped up, and people can't see her eyes and face, and if the windows are open, you can't see her through the window. And you gay, they throw you off of buildings, and they stone women to death, and whatever they do over there. But y'all out here defending them. They don't need regime change. Yeah, they do. Now, we don't have to do it, but why can't we let them do it? All right, let's move on. I want to play P. Hegseth's clip. Let's play P. Hegseth because I want to get to some of these, and then I want to move on to The View. You are not going to believe what Sonia Hostin said. You're not going to believe it. She is the dumbest. I want to say it. I can't say it because I'm a Christian. You know what you know what word popped up in your mind when I say she the dumbest in the world. Whatever word popped up in your mind is the word I was going to say. Let's play P. Hegseth because I was very proud of the way he carried himself. Because I think some people in the administration is kind of gimmicky. And at least two people. I like, they kind of gimmicky. Are they really qualified for this? But Pete Hegseth kind of held his own on this, and I respect that. Roll the clip.
The order we received from our commander-in-chief was focused, it was powerful, and it was clear. we devastated the Iranian nuclear program. But it's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people. For the entirety of his time in office, President Trump has consistently stated for over 10 years that Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. Full stop.
Yep.
Thanks to President Trump's bold and visionary leadership and his commitment to peace through strength, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated. Many presidents have dreamed of delivering the final blow to Iran's nuclear program, and none could until President Trump. The operation President Trump planned was bold and it was brilliant, showing the world that American deterrence is back. When this president speaks, the world should listen. And the U.S. military, we can back it up. The most powerful military the world has ever known. No other country on planet Earth could have conducted the operation that the chairman is going to outline this morning. Not even close. Just like Soleimani found out in the first term, Iran found out when POTUS says 60 days that he seeks peace and negotiation, he means 60 days of peace and negotiation. Otherwise, that nuclear program, that nuclear capability will not exist. He meant it. This
all right, cool. Y'all can go watch the rest of this.
The previous.
Y'all can, I'm unmuted. Y'all can watch the rest of this another time. But I just want to give a little brief synopsis of what he said. Let's get to some juicy stuff, right? Because I want to talk about, I'm going to start with Caroline Leavitt. Then we're going to go through the methodical process of this. The Democrats are trying to act like, maybe I won't go to Caroline Leavitt. Hold on a second. The Democrats are trying to act like Donald Trump somehow violated the Constitution or committed a war crime by doing what he did. Now, I can read this at another time and you guys can read it too, but it's called the War Power Act. And Donald Trump, through the War Powers Act, has the right, without congressional approval, for him to do what he did. That's why nothing is ever going to come of this. But you got to be the R word for you to somehow think that makes sense. Now, the Democrats are trying to use this as a campaign slogan, just like they did the illegals, but clearly that didn't work out. You see how that's been going? So they need to find a new reason to be mad at Donald Trump. And here is some of the reasons. And I will have Caroline Leavitt go first. And then we're going to show. Now, let me do Obama. Let me have Obama go first, because I want this to be very clear. Why didn't anybody say nothing to Barack Obama when he said these things? Why did Sonny Holston and the Democrats not come out and say he violated the Constitution or he violated the law? He should be put in prison after he said this stuff and he made these decisions. Roll the clip.
Today I authorized 2 operations in Iraq. Targeted airstrikes to protect our American personnel. Last night, on my orders, America's armed forces began strikes against ISIL targets in Syria. Today, the American people give thanks for the extraordinary service of our men and women in uniform. Today, I authorized the armed forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya. That action has now begun. Make no mistake, this is a difficult mission, and it will remain difficult for some time. It's going to take time to dislodge these terrorists, especially from urban areas. If the United States has Al-Qaeda, bin Laden, top-level lieutenants in our sights, and Pakistan is unable or unwilling to act, then we should take them out.
Oh. Sure, that's unconstitutional, right? Is that unconstitutional? Oh, when Barack Obama did it, nobody said anything. Let's go to Caroline Leavitt real quick. We're going to go to Charlemagne. We'll go to Fetterman, and then we're going to play Sonny Holston, the clip that you guys have been waiting to listen to. Roll the clip.
So as this operation takes place, Democrats said they were not told about it. They were left in the dark. and they said usually there's bipartisan calls for this, and they didn't know about it. Here is Republican Thomas Massey.
We haven't been briefed. They should have called us all back. And frankly, we should have debated this war powers resolution that Ro Khanna and I offered instead of staying on vacation and doing fundraisers and saying, oh, well, the president's got this under control. We're going to cede our constitutional authority.
Should you have called everybody back?
First of all, we did make bipartisan calls. Thomas Massey and the Democrats, he should be a Democrat because he's more aligned with them than with the Republican Party. We're given notice. The White House made calls to congressional leadership. They were bipartisan calls. In fact, Hakeem Jeffries couldn't be reached. We tried him before the strike, and he didn't pick up the phone, but he was briefed after, as well as Chuck Schumer was briefed prior to the strike. So this notion that CNN ran with at the White House did not give a heads up to Democrats is just completely false. In fact, both Senator Schumer's office and CNN had to retract that story last night because it was a blatant lie, and we showed them the timestamps from those phone calls. But I want to add something to Thomas Massey's false point. The White House was not obligated to call anyone because the president was acting within his legal authority under Article 2 of the Constitution as Commander-in-Chief of the President of the United States. We gave these calls as a courtesy, and the Democrats are lying about this because they can't talk about the truth of the success of that operation and the success of our United States military and the success of this president and this administration in doing something that past administrations, Democrats too, have only dreamed about.
Yeah.
She cooking. She cooking. She my favorite, by the way. There have been other great spokespersons for the White House, but Caroline Leavitt is on another level. I think so. I think they just get better. If somebody can get better than Caroline Leavitt, I'm going to pass out. Caroline Leavitt was right on point. What are y'all talking about? They lied. Well, first of all, Trump don't have to say nothing to you, fool. What do you got? We need to call back all of Congress for them to fly in. Okay, let's do that. It take a week, and then they argue about it. That's 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's why government don't get sugar, honey, iced tea done. Not a doggone thing. If y'all got to come and talk about it and get in a circle and cry and debate and do it. No, man, we just gonna take care of business. That's why we voted for the man. He's the commander-in-chief. If he believes it is right, then he need to do what he needs to do. None of them said that they need to do this when Barack Obama's in office, and I can say that 200 million times. Let's go to Charlemagne real quick. And he's you know, I don't really like Charlemagne that much, but sometimes he fall and slip on his head and bump it and say something that makes sense. You see how weak he is. This dude right here, I think he closeted. Why you say he closeted? This dude he say some of the weakest, most feminine, emasculated stuff I've ever heard in my life. He acts like he's an emasculated man. And then look behind him. Love is love. If you don't get that, all right, let me stop. Go ahead.
This is one of those times where politicians sound like hypocrites because Mark Kelly is right. Presidents should get congressional approval, but there have been a bunch of presidents who have ordered strikes without congressional approval. Barack Obama did it against Libya. Joe Biden ordered strikes in Iraq and Syria without congressional approval. Bill Clinton did it to was it Kosovo? I think you pronounce it. So presidents ordering military action without congressional approval has become pretty routine. So is it always a thing when they do it? I'm just asking. I don't know.
No. Well, this is where those articles of impeachment come up, and that's why House Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she actually says that President Trump's decision to strike Iran could lead to impeachment.
So why didn't I'm just saying? So why didn't it lead to impeachment for everybody else? Like when Barack Obama did it, when Biden did it,
but it has, you know, not that it necessarily. Well, the people in Congress or congressional members will call for it. Does it necessarily mean that that they'll move forward with the impeachment process? Not necessarily, but there have been times in the past that these congressional members have called for impeachment of the president because of their military actions or actions that they've taken with the military without having that congressional.
I don't even. It hasn't been this much backlash.
Yeah, I don't even remember hearing about it during the Joe Biden administration.
But I guess that's. I guess that's because the way Trump has been moving, but we haven't heard about it when Obama did it. We didn't hear about it when Biden did it.
I do remember when Obama did it. When Obama did it, I do remember, people in Congress saying he needed congressional approval and they were making it a thing. I don't remember the Biden thing at all. I don't remember that even making a headline.
I was going to say, I don't recall, but people were very upset about the way that he, that went without that. People were very upset about the way that he withdrew from Afghanistan. I mean, that was certainly a thing as well. I mean, they were it was a thing.
Yeah, the only reason I know about Biden, because I read an article on NBC News last night that was literally about this. It was the headline was "President's ordering military action without congressional approval has become routine," and it talked about Biden citing Article Number 2 in the Constitution, which makes the president commander in chief, and I guess basically saying he don't need congressional approval, and that's when he ordered the strikes in Iraq and Syria.
Yeah, you don't need. If they wanted to change it, Congress get off their ashy elbows and do something about it. Congress don't do nothing but sit around and complain and argue with each other all day. They don't get nothing done. I'm not saying that in totality. It just appears to be that way at times, that they don't get anything done. If you don't think the president should have these actions, why don't you vote on it? Why don't y'all get a resolution going? They don't do nothing. They doing nothing for illegal aliens or against or for. They do nothing. They literally, when one person's in power, the other side don't want to cooperate. When one side in power, the other side don't want to cooperate. I see why Republicans don't want to cooperate, because the Democrats are evil devils. Many of them are devils. They're disingenuous, and they lie to the American people on a day-to-day basis. This is point blank one of the clear messages. All of a sudden, they're outraged that Donald Trump has done this. But they're not saying anything about the fact that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. They don't say anything about nothing that makes sense if a Republican does it. And I hope that the American people can see it. Now, let me go with John Fetterman real quick, and then we're going to get to Miss Dum Dum. All right, this is him being on Fox talking about Donald Trump and AOC when it comes to the impeachment of Donald Trump strikes. Wrote a clip.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says the president shouldn't be impeached because he's impulsive. What do you think of that?
No, I mean, of course, no. She knows it. I know it. We all know it. That's not going anywhere. And, you know, he's been impeached twice, and now he's still our president as well now, too. So it's not going anywhere, and I don't think that's helpful. And I think if you throw that term around, that actually diminishes what the severity of what impeachment is really reserved for.
Thank you, Fetterman. Maybe when he fell and had a stroke or whatever happened to him, he woke up from being a Democrat, because he actually makes sense sometimes. But when you just thought to yourself, wow, some Democrats may have good sense. Maybe people are starting to wake up. Let me break your bubble real quick. Put Sonny Hostin on there. I wanted to say a joke, but I can't do it because I'm trying to be a good Christian. I often say Sonny Hostin with the emphasis on. All right. Let's play her clip and listen to what she got to say. The dumbest woman on planet Earth. Joy Reid got second to her in this last race to stupidity. Wrote a clip.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have called into question the constitutionality of Donald Trump's actions. He bypassed Congress, potentially violated the War Powers Resolution. I believe this is certainly a clear violation of international law, at the very least. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries accused the president of misleading the country as to his intentions. What do you think are the possible ramifications that President Trump could face for arguably overstepping his authority?
Well, look, constitutionally, only Congress has the power to declare war. The War Powers Act would make it seem very clear you need to have congressional approval on this. But president after president after president has launched military action without the approval of Congress. Yeah. And Congress, under Democratic and Republican leadership, has complained the president is violating the War Powers Act. This is not new. I mean, I go back. I covered Bill Clinton and the military strikes against Kosovo back in 1999. Again,
that's why I think it's more of an international law violation.
But you know, look, it's a Republican Congress right now. I don't think he's not getting any blowback from within his own party, with the exception of Tom Massie.
So what's the good of having it then if they all violate it?
Well, that's a great question. I mean,
we've been using the 2003 AUMF to authorize every military strike in about 25 years. So Congress can't be feckless and then be mad when they don't like the outcome.
Yeah. So that was after 9/11. Yeah. Congress passed this authorization of military force against. It was supposed to be against Afghanistan, for harboring Al Qaeda, and it has been used over and over and over and over again.
Let me tell you this. This is the funny thing. Like, when it comes to this War Powers Act, this is why Donald Trump, in my opinion, is brilliant, and these people are stuck on stupid, because they want to be stuck on stupid. Here's some key components to the War Powers Act, and I'm going to tell you how I think Donald Trump did exactly what he's supposed to do and circumvented this entirely, because the president should be able to do what he did and not have to wait for Congress to do nothing. Okay, I'm just going to read real quick. It says the War Powers Resolution of 1973, commonly called the War Powers Act, is a federal law aimed to limit the president's ability to engage in U.S. forces in hostilities without congressional approval. It was passed in the wake of Vietnam War to reassert congressional authority over war making. Right? Here's some key components. Notification requirement. The president must notify Congress within 48 hours of committing armed forces to military action. 60-day limit. The president can only keep U.S. forces in combat for 60 days with a 30-day withdrawal period, unless congressional authorization or Congress authorizes the use of force or declare war. Okay. Congressional oversight. Congress can demand the removal of troops with a concurrent resolution. Okay. So critics say this: White House has not confirmed a 48-hour formal notification yet, triggering congressional concerns. Okay. But here's also the thing. There was no troops used. No troops, boots on the ground. Were we really acting in war? Now, let me say this. Donald Trump did give phone calls to congressional leaders. I would argue that Donald Trump would say, because remember when he was on there, he said, I'm going to go back in a week or two or something to decide what I'm going to do. That was 48 hours before Donald Trump actually did the strikes. So I would argue calling and saying that you're going to communicate or giving any indication whatsoever, which he called Hakeem Jeffries and them and they time-stamped it, is sufficient before you have to make a strike. You don't have to wait for them to answer the phone and do all that. You can make a strike. Here's what happened against Soleimani. It says Trump ordered the drone strike to kill General Qasem Soleimani. Justification is that the administration claimed it was a defense action to prevent imminent action or attacks. Trump notified Congress within 48 hours via a letter. However, Democrats and critics argued the notification was vague. So no matter what he does, they are going to have a problem with it. He notified them and they go, it's vague. Well, what do you want them to do? Now look at this. Congress passed a War Powers resolution in February of 2020 aimed at limiting Trump's ability to take further military action against Iran without approval. But Trump vetoed it, and Congress did not override the veto. So they tried to do the little shenanigans. Trump vetoed it anyway. So there's no exclusive, nuanced power that they now have to stop Donald Trump for doing what he's doing. If they really wanted to get something done when Biden was in office, they could have passed the resolution in, but they didn't do anything. Okay? And there's other situations that, you know, people want to articulate from other wars, the Syrian airstrikes as well in 2017 and 18. But according to my little document here, it says Trump, hold on, let me see if these go together. I think it says Trump complied with the notification provision of the War Act. Many Congress, mostly Democrats, but some Republicans too, felt Trump stretched executive authority and sidestep congressional authorization, especially with the Soleimani strike. But if you look at what he did, you can argue whether he did it right or he did it on time or he did it formally or informally. I think Donald Trump did what was right, and we executed flawlessly. And I think a president shouldn't have to go through the Congress that we have that gets nothing done in order to get things done on behalf of the United States of America. Point blank, period. All right. All right. I think we've done that. I think we've recapped enough of what is going on in Iran. WNBA. Now, this was a video that I saw, and I thought to myself, we need to stop acting like everything is a problem. Let me reread it. Let me re-listen to this, because maybe the lady meant something else. Maybe it's, everything ain't drama. Then I listened to it again, and I saw very clearly the absolute asinine and the stupidity amongst human beings, especially these ones that are announcing a basketball game. Wait till you hear what she said. Wait till you hear what she recanted after she said it. And you tell me what planet are people living on. Roll the clip.
So they disagree with you. They do. And I disagree with them. And that's fine. That's what makes America great, right, Pant Ward? I should rephrase that. Yes. But yeah, I did think opinion are perfectly yes, fine. That's a better way to say it. Sorry about that.
Now, listen, I could be wrong, but I only have access to this clip. And from what I'm listening to, just like you guys listen to it, I'm going to play it one more time. It sounds as if she said, let's make America great. Now, if you're completely stupid, you think somehow that means make America great again, even though she didn't say that. So now all of a sudden you can't even say make America great. You can't say this is what makes America great. Because I guess what America must be bad or something. You have to rephrase what you said that made perfect sense in an English sentence with context and everything surrounding it, meaning opinion and opinion is what make America great. You got it. Somehow they going dark on air while they're broadcasting. The girl is like not even saying nothing back to her. So she probably looked at her off camera and was like, oh, I'm sorry, I got to retract saying this is what make America great. Let me say this is what make conversation. Because it's somehow closely related to something Trump has said. When I can show you a video right now, we don't have it, but I can produce it. You can look it up on your own, where other people have said make America great again. I've heard Clinton say it. I've heard other people say it. But when Trump say let's make America great again, it's Nazi Germany. Let's play the clip again, and you tell me if I heard something wrong. Roll the clip.
So they disagree with you. They do. And I disagree with them. And that's fine. That's what makes America great, right, Pant Ward? I should rephrase that. Yes. But yeah, I did think opinion are perfectly yes, fine. That's a better way to say it. Sorry about that.
What world? Do y'all know what world? I don't know what world we living in. That somebody think they can't say this is what make America great. The fact that Donald Trump says let's make America great again, how is that a bad thing? I put my life on this. If Barack Obama would have said make America great again, people would have loved it. That it would be the most profound quote used in textbooks forevermore. People would have been wearing merch, make America great again, with Barack Obama's head on it, selling merch and everything else. Everybody would just be falling in love with that phrase. It will go down in history on a Barack Obama statue, let's make America great again. But because Donald Trump said it, the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs group of people in the world can't compute. They start glitching. Donald Trump said, no, bro. It's like, let's make America great again. That's what we should be saying. That's what we should be doing. And then these nut jobs want to say, when was America ever great? Your whole life? When was America not great for you? I almost said but when was America great for you? Your whole life? When was America great? Look at the history books. I think, to be honest, I think America has always been great. And people are so stupid to me because at the time, even during slavery, I don't think America was bad. Why do you say that, Brandon? Because that was normal then. It was lawful to own slaves. It was normal. It was the law. Slave ownership then is not the same as today. Slavery today is barbaric. Back then, it was normal. It's like owning cattle. If one day it becomes barbaric that you had animals on a farm, it's like that's totally normal today. And maybe in the future we find out, hey, they got the animal, they beating on them and doing all that stuff. That's all bad. Now, I'm not trying to compare humans to animals, but what I'm saying is that when times change and things become a little more normal, internet wasn't a thing back in the day. There's so many things that have changed in our society that back in the day we looked primitive and barbaric. You cannot judge the past from things that we now believe today. You can't do it. And you're a nut job if you try to do it. You try to go enforce your moral authority 100 years ago, 200, 2,000 years ago. We were different human beings 2,000 years ago. Now, we can rightfully say that was wrong, but to act like they knew what we knew now then, and they still made the decision to do that, you got to be stupid to think that. Y'all acting like these people experienced slavery. Slavery was abolished. There was a civil war fought. There was integration between Africans and Americans. They became Americans, essentially. And now we're no different. And they experienced all of that with all of that knowledge, and they said, let's go get some Negroes from Africa. Then we could have an argument. But when these people were growing up, everybody owned slaves. People had been slaves. It wasn't odd that you owned other people back then. It was legal. There was a slave trade. They went to the auction. They bought slaves. They mistreated some. They treated some well. Not every slave was on a plantation. You had the ones working in the house. You had ones that were servants. You had some of them that were partially free. Harriet Tubman, she went to work every day. She was married to a free black man. They lived together. That wasn't the slavery that you thought it was. Anyway, I'm not trying to get to the slavery argument. I'm just saying, bro, like, it makes me so upset that people cannot compartmentalize. They can't compartmentalize Israel. They can't compartmentalize Trump. They just have no nuance and compartmentalization, which is essential for you to exist in a rational world. These two things can be bad without compromising both of them. You know, all these people that's out here that hate Israel and they say, we don't hate Israel. Just listen to their rhetoric real quick. They separate the Ayatollah from the Iranian people. They celebrate Hamas from the Palestinian people. But for some reason, these same people don't separate the IDF from the Israelis. They throw them all under the bus, but they're willing to capitulate and have compassion for dead Iranians and dead Palestinians, but not for dead Jews. There is no way. I got one more clip and I'm done. There's no way that anybody can make me feel any other way about Israel when these people came into Israel and murdered people. I just saw another clip about somebody was talking about it. One of the people that were hostages was talking about how he saw them torture and murder a woman who was a hostage, torture her, murder her. Like, how do you not still feel some way about that? Just as much as you crying about innocent babies and kids that got killed over here. Why don't you, in addition to that, still talk about the atrocities in Israel? People are still hostages right now. Children who were hostages were murdered in Gaza. And the fury and the crying out and the innocent children and women is literally only about Gazans and have been easily forgotten about the Israeli people that had to pick up dead kids from a carnival in the tune of thousands, or at least over 1,000, I think, were killed in that event. Going to the kibbutz and seeing bodies and heads and everywhere, like, that's still traumatic today. They just released a few hostages not too long ago. That's still traumatic. To be in a cave in a tunnel somewhere, a hostage. Can we, while you're talking about crying about them, can you still cry about Israelis? That didn't just go away. I'm done. Scott Jennings, last clip, and then I'm going home. Scott Jennings talking about Democrats not having an issue with the mask and stuff like that, wrote a clip.
Oh, you guys are against masks now? You know, the reason they have to wear them is because some of these violent protesters are trying to take their picture and dox them on the internet and put them and their families in harm's way. Do you agree with that?
I had
because I don't.
I had not heard about that, and which I think we live in kind of different informational silos. So I think you may not be as aware of the fact that there are like literally nannies out there with little kids in the neighborhood where I'm raising my family. The nannies are being snatched away and the babies are being put in police cars for 4 hours. That's horrible. I didn't know about this doxing, and that's horrible too. So
just for Van Jones, he one of them undercover brothers too. He always saying something gay and weird. As a man, what do you talk? You always act. Let me just say this. I know saying gay and weird kind of throws some people off. It's the emasculated man that's hyper emotional like a woman, that cannot compartmentalize reality and has to jump to emotion. What is the emotion that Van Jones feels? That a nanny who broke the law and is illegally in America somehow gets sent to detention or somewhere so she can figure her crap out. And the thought of her baby being in a car is somehow too emotional for him to understand. Hey, dummy, when you go to jail, your kids can't go with you. And when you put a kid in a police car, you ain't putting the kid in the back. If a kid is waiting in a patrol car for 4 hours, the kid is in the front seat with the air conditioning on while they process mama, who is illegally in this country. But when you as an American get a DUI or you break the law and you go to jail, where your kids going? It's called CPS. Hopefully you got another relative that can come pick your kids up. Your kids don't go to jail with you. But when you a weak, soft man who just don't have nothing on the inside, the T levels are low. That's why you need testosterone, T-Force. Give Van Jones some T-Force so he can get his testosterone numbers up. But when your T is low, you can't see practicality over your emotionalism. A kid being in a car for 4 hours means nothing to me, as long as you're not mistreating them, and especially if the parent goes to jail. But when you're an emasculated man, you get, your babies are not with their parent. Well, you know what? You know why I don't go out and commit crimes? Because I don't want a situation where I'm away from my kids because I'm going to jail. So if there's a part for me to do something illegal, I'm not going to do it. And when you came to America, you should have got your paperwork right. And you wouldn't have to worry about separating your kids. And let me tell you this, the separation of parents and kids is the parents' fault. When your parents get deported, it's the parents' fault that they're away from their kids. Because you could take your kids with you. You think I get deported? You think I'd be somewhere and I ain't take my kids and family with me? Okay. But you're flying the Mexican flag, but you don't want to take your family with you when you get deported. You want to leave them in America, but you want to fly the Mexican flag. If Mexico is so good to you and you want to be a part of that, then take your kids with you. Okay. I'm just saying. Finish the clip.
There's a lot of bad stuff that's happening. The doxing should not be happening, but what's happening is those masks are terrifying people. But I wasn't aware of the doxing.
Well, I don't disagree with you about masks being. I mean, all the protests that are happening, the Free Palestine people who have now converted into the pro-Iranian regime people. A lot of them wear masks out there. We don't seem to be exercised about that. But in the case of these law enforcement who are being doxed, and I mean, they're only being doxed for one reason, because they want people to come along and do something terrible to them.
I'm from a law enforcement family, and I'm against that. And by the way, the Urban League is standing up against these mass protesters.
All right. Next, why did the Trump...
Van Jones, man. It's supposed to be about Scott Jennings. Shout out to him. But Van Jones is just... These guys rub me the wrong way a little bit. They just rub me the wrong way. Do we got super chats? All right, I'm going to try my best to run through the super chats real quick, and then we can get on about our way, okay? Thank y'all for the super chats. Eventually, when we do the thing like we're supposed to do, we can have super chats pop up on the screen, which should encourage more people to super chat, right? Would y'all agree that if when you super chatted, it popped up on the screen and I can address it when you super chat it? I think that'd be a better way to do it. Let's see. Vashit. I hope y'all got me saying something crazy. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. Slim. I support Trump. We have to protect the U.S. and our allies. God has our back. God bless you, brother. Bless you too. Okay, Mr. Hill. I think that's a male name. Less than a year ago, we had the auto pen administration, and now we have the FAFO administration. Watch and learn world. We not playing with nobody. 100%. We ain't playing with y'all no more. Keep playing, you're going to die. Keep playing, your whole country will be a parking lot. Don't play with us. Let's see, Cowpoke Ranch, thanks so much for the super chat. This is Dick Cheney, 2001 level of BS propaganda. America was fooled once, Tatum. We will not be fooled again. How are we fooled? Oh, because it's Israel. Oh, the Jews. This is, now I'm not going to go too deep into this, but like, this is the part of compartmentalizing that I'm articulating. Let me read the second chat and see if this person says anything else. All of us with answers to call, all of us will answer the call to defend our country if needed, but none of us will answer the call to defend Israel. You gotta be completely stupid. And I'm just gonna say this, and I love you, but you gotta be completely stupid to think that our actions in Iran was about Israel. What crack cocaine concoctions are you ingesting in your body when the president of the United States came out? When we've had all of this evidence of why they're a threat to America, that you would say this is like Dick Cheney. You guys got to stop living in the past to justify your stupidity in the future. Donald Trump is not Dick Cheney. Donald Trump is not stupid. Our military commanders are not stupid. You guys got to be completely bonkers to think that it's so simplified that Netanyahu will call on the phone and say, hey, Donald, they have weapons of mass destruction. Kill them now. And we go, okay, let's do it. What do you think? What do y'all think happens? You think they just call up on the phone and say, I think we're going to invade them. You better help us. No, I don't have evidence. Just do it anyway. I'm Israel. Bye. Stop being silly. There is a protocol. We have commanders who do this for a living. Dudes that have spent their whole life in the military. That understand and been in military briefings while you were still peeing in the bed. They not finna blindly go and invade a country. Think about this. Woo, Jesus. How do we get intel to know where to strike at? Give me the full camera. How do you think we got details on knowing where to strike? You think we just went, I think it's over there. How do we know where their nuclear facilities are at? That means either we or they gave us privy information that was validated, verified, and we acted upon the information, which caused no casualties whatsoever to civilians or military personnel on our side or Iranian side. Or Israeli side. So for you to think we so stupid that Benjamin called on the phone and go, Trump, and we just go, I don't know, jets, you start fighting. No, there is a tactical briefing of military personnel that say what information you have, what is your verification process, what is verified and what is not, where do we strike and where we cannot strike, and there's a joint staff that coordinate and go all over this to execute one of the most brilliant missions without casualty in American history. But y'all talking about the Jews. No. I'm going to stick to you real quick. Now, if we did nothing, what would happen? Let's say we did nothing. Let's do nothing. This is Dick Cheney again. Let's do nothing. Okay. Then what do you think will happen? Don't super chat me no more. Breaking news, for those of you who don't know, We got breaking news right now. This is Donald Trump saying this. Get your money back because you wasted $10 talking to me. Let's look at what it said. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. All you warmongers, we're going to be in World War III. We're going to be in World War III. He ain't for America. Trump don't love America. This is not what I voted for. Apologize. No. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Trump. And this is why people follow Brandon Tatum. Because I have wisdom, bruh. I know what I'm talking about. When it first came out, and open your phone for me, Nick. When it first came out, I don't know if you got a code. When it first came out, I said, we do things proxy through Israel. I'm like, no, we do things proxy through Israel. Do you think that Donald Trump didn't know that Benjamin Netanyahu was going to bomb Israel? Was going to bomb Iran? Like, what crack are y'all smoke? And then I said it because I know what's going on. Then Trump come out and say, we are doing this, we are doing that. I know already. It's not rocket science. They're our biggest ally. We give them so much money. You think we ain't in cahoots with them? What are we talking about? We do things proxy through them all the time. Okay. Then we go on to the war and I say, I trust Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump is going to do what he said he's going to do. I know Donald Trump is not going to get us in endless wars. Donald Trump has said from the beginning that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump bombed Soleimani and they did not do nothing. They did a little retaliation to save face and they didn't do nothing. And we didn't get into World War III. We didn't do none of that. And then when Donald Trump does what he does now, and I watch how strategic, how methodical, and crisp Israel went in and defeated them, defeated their airspace and communication with no pushback. It told me that they were prepared and Iran is not ready for it. And Donald Trump came in and we finished the job. And I say, Donald Trump and them knew exactly what we needed to do. Iran don't want no smoke with America. Russia not trying to get involved in it. And then what happens? After you whoop somebody good enough, you go, are you ready to stop now? Okay, that's what I thought. And you got people out here going, see, Trump has just made it worse. Iran is now going to get us. I think somebody sold me a post. Somebody was like, wait for the splinter cells in America to happen. It's like, wait a minute. Donald Trump is a problem because he attacked Iran and now splinter cells are but Iran is not the problem for having the cells in America in the first place. That's the reason why we should go after them in the first place, because if they got people here that's going to do suicide bombs, we should be mad at them from the get-go. Anyway, let me read this one more time. I'm going to read this whole thing just so y'all know. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. In approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress full missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, the courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Mic drop. Mic dropathy. That's a new term, mic dropathy. Donald Trump tweets is a mic dropathy. Because diplomatically, Donald Trump said, Daddy has to come and end this fight. You got weapons, we'll end it. Ceasefire, both of y'all go to the corner. And what does he do? Because the Iranian people, in my opinion, aren't the issue. It's the Ayatollah. It's the government structure. It's the terrorists that are the issue. So Donald Trump peacefully gave them props too. All right. Let me do the super chats and then we can go on, okay? So Cowpoke Ranch, stop. Get your money back. There's a way to refund it. Get your money back. You wasted your money. Unconstitutional patriotism. I need to make a shirt like this. She said hashtag shirt. Unconstitutional patriotism. I think about it. I don't know if people are going to get it, but if they do, if I do make a shirt, you get a free one. MAGA, God bless our troops and God bless America. It is well known in military communities that Iranian men are goat diddlers and PDO files. Probably. I wouldn't be shocked. Trump 2028. I wish Trump could serve one more time. He need to get 2 back-to-back terms. But he's kind of old now, so hopefully whoever succeeds him is going to be just as good or better. Somebody say debate Candace already, but we know you won't. What am I going to debate Candace for? What are we going to debate? Candace is entitled to her own opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. What are we debating? You need to debate with whoever. You need to debate with yourself on stop sending me super chats and wasting your money. How about you debate that? B. Tate, you're the best person I can relate to. Truth and consequences. Let's see. Nobody's perfect, but God is. We love our Jesus and we love this country and we'll die for it. Before dishonor, either one of those. Agree. Well, Candace Owens' issue with Trump, she been throwing a lot of shade at Trump over this with Iran. Like I said, she has her own opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I have my own opinion. That's America. I don't care. To be honest, I don't care what people think about stuff. I know what I think. And to a certain degree, it's not about an individual person, in my personal opinion. It's about the ideas that are spewed. It don't matter who it's coming from. If I disagree with the idea, I will challenge that idea. And that is what it is. And I expect the same thing from anybody else. If they disagree with me, they're going to challenge my ideas. And that's fine. It's like before germs were discovered, it was normal to not wash your hands when handling food or surgical procedures. Yeah, 1,000%. Let's see. Make America great again. God bless President Trump. Trump just announced a ceasefire agreement, which somebody said. Ron, thanks so much for the super chat. Lizzie, for those of us who know Bible and biblical prophecy, we know war will never end till Christ's return. In addition, we all know that this is the building of the Ezekiel 38 war. Jack Hibbs is a great, I think you missed the word on there, is a great. Iran and Israel ceasefire is done. Okay. It says prayers for you and wishes you many blessings. Thank you so much for that super chat. David, bro, been loving the content. Keep speaking, man. Love it all. I have you up on the big screen. My kiddos is watching also. He's 4 and love seeing you. Well, David, if you're there, what's up, kiddos? Love you guys. Thank y'all for supporting me. Thank you for watching the channel. Hopefully I don't say nothing crazy and scare you, but I love you. And I got a 4-year-old too. If he was here, I'd have him come on and say hi. But David, I appreciate you. Love your family. Thank y'all for watching me. Y'all stay tuned. Let's see. Blue Eye Candy says, proud to be part of the Tatum squad. Just continue keeping it real. Be Tatum. Love that. Thank you so much. And Blue Eye, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. God bless America and President Trump. Ceasefire already, and all we give Iran was just... See, the 4-year-old watching, I can't read that. But I like what you said. Let's see, is Israel reject Jesus? Okay, here we go. If somebody going to try to challenge me. If Israel rejects Jesus as Lord, how can Christians support it? Okay, we're going to get to that. Who is the synagogue of Satan? Jesus warned of. Your shirt and tattoo contradict, sir. Okay. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but read your Bible, please. Read your Bible. You listen to somebody give some talking points about the synagogue of Satan. What I'll tell you to do, read Romans 11. If you read 9, 10, and 11, you get the full spectrum, which is the prophecy that was made about God and his chosen people. And Paul addressed this in Romans 9, 10, and 11, specifically in 11. Okay. Don't listen to my words. Listen to what the Bible say. It is very clearly present if you care enough to watch it or go look at Romans 11. Paul articulates very clearly of what God is going to do for his chosen people, Israel. Now, it is clear that they've fallen away, right? That's what the Bible say in the New Testament. And it's also prophesied in the Old Testament that there's going to be a falling away and God is going to return his people to the land from four corners of the earth. It is prophesied that these things are going to happen, and we see it happening in full force. Also, Paul articulates very clearly about Christians that need to beware of being boastful and have humility about the falling away of Israel, God's chosen people, because if it had not been for them, we wouldn't have salvation, because through them came the law, came the prophets, all of these things. And if it had not been for the Jewish people that God used and came through, we wouldn't have salvation. He goes on in chapter 11 to speak specifically about how should we, as the branches that have been grafted in, should we despise the root, which was the Israeli people? And it says, God forbid. Let me read. We go straight to the book. Let me read, because I don't want nobody to be confused. Let's go to the book. Let's go to Romans. I'm going to be quick. 11:20 something. Right here, Romans 11:25. This is what he said. I've been sharing this everywhere. And I think this is in part an explanation of this, right? It says, lest you be wise in your own sight, I do not want you to be unaware of this mystery, brothers. A partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles have come in. And in this way, all Israel will be saved, as it is written. And it says, the deliverer will come from Zion. He will banish ungodliness from Jacob. And this will be my covenant with them when I take away their sins. What does this mean? It means that there's going to be a reconciliation of God's chosen people back into the fold. I can go on and read a lot of this, but I don't know if you guys want to sit and hear me read this. You can read it for yourself in 11. I'll start at the beginning. I asked then, has God rejected his people? Who is, and this is Romans 11, verse 1. I asked then, has God rejected his people? Who is Paul talking about, his people? He's not talking about the Gentiles, because we're going to get to that. He's talking about what? God's chosen people, Israel. And it says, by no means, for I myself am an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, a member of the tribe of Benjamin. God has not rejected his people in whom he foreknew. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean he had rejected his people? Do you not know what the scripture says of Elijah, how he appeals to God against Israel, right? Lord, they have killed your prophets. They have demolished your altar. And I alone am left, and they seek my life. But what is God's reply to him? I have kept for myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. So too at the present time there is a remnant chosen by grace. But if it is by grace, it is no longer on basis of works. Otherwise, grace would no longer be grace. What then? Israel failed to obtain what it was seeking. The elect obtained it, but the rest were hardened, as it is written. God gave them a spirit of stumper, eye that would not see, and ears that would not hear, down to this very day. And David said, let their table become a snare and a strap, a stumbling block. And it goes on. And it says, let their eyes be darkened so that they cannot see and bend their backs forward. And then it talks about how the Gentiles were then engrafted in because of the fall of the Israelites, or the Israelis, or Jews, you can call them. All right. And then he goes on and talks about all this. I can go through and read it. It says, so I asked, did they stumble in order that they may fall? By no means. Rather, through their trespass, salvation has come to the Gentiles so as to make Israel jealous. Now, if their trespass means riches for the world, and if their failure means riches for the Gentiles, how much more will their full inclusion mean? Okay. Now I'm speaking to you Gentiles, in so much then as I am an apostle to the Gentiles. I magnify my ministry in order somehow to make my fellow Jews jealous and thus save some of them. For in their rejection means the reconciliation of the world, that with their acceptance mean the life from the dead. If the dough offers a fruitful first fruit, if the dough offered as first fruit is holy, so is the whole lump. And if the root is holy, and so is the branches. Then it goes on to say, but if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in amongst the others, and now share in the nutritional root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant towards the branches. If you are, remember, it is not you who support the root, but the root that support you. Then you all say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. This is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through the faith. So do not become proud, be fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, neither will he spare you. Note then the kindness of the sovereignty of God, sovereignty towards those who have fallen, but God's kindness to you, provide you continue in the kindness, otherwise you too will be cut off. And even they, if they do not continue in their unbelief, will be grafted in, for God has the power to graft them again. For if you were cut off for what is by nature a wild olive tree and grafted, contrary to nature, into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these, the natural branches, be grafted back into their own olive tree? And so what is it saying? Don't be afraid of the mystery. God will bring the fullness of the Gentiles in, and he will come back for his people. And I do believe that many of them will come back like God has said, and he has them with open arms. They never left their place. They rejected God, but they have an ability to come back. All right, one more scripture. This is only for people that care. I'm not going to read that much. It's not big. Christians use this one all the time. Romans 10:9. Okay. And I don't like that Christians use this because I think it's not contextually useful. But in Romans 10, Paul says, brother, my heart, desire, and prayer for God, for them, is that they may be saved. And he's talking about Israel, the people. For I bear them witness that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. For being ignorant of the righteousness of God and seeking to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness. For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes. And then he goes on and says, Moses writes about the righteousness that is based on the law, that the person who does the commandments shall live by them. But by the righteousness based on the faith says, do not say in your heart who will ascend up in heaven and go down to hell. Pretty much what you're saying is that you can't say who's going to heaven and hell based on these actions. What does it say? The word is near you, in your mouth and in your heart, because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with your heart one believes, is justified, and with your mouth the confession is salvation. For the scripture says, everyone who believes in him will not be put to shame. Now, let me add this. and I'm going to shut up. There's one reason why I believe that Jews have not been able to receive Jesus Christ, and it's because of 98% of Christians. And I'm not saying Christian people, Christian theology. Christianity has bastardized theology so bad in many cases, not all, that it is impossible. And I think God is going to hold them accountable to this, that it is impossible to properly preach the gospel to people who actually know the Bible. And I do think Christians have failed in this. And this is why a lot of Jews cannot accept who Jesus really was, because Christians aren't really talking about the real Jesus. And therefore it's impossible according to the scripture. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see, why brother ABL acting so silly about this? I haven't seen ABL's take. AJ Hill, thank you so much. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. Key, YMCA, and Trumpy Bear Dance. Oh, when Trump was doing a little thing. That's funny. Tatum Bible study coming soon. I ain't gonna lie. So, let me say this real quick, 30 seconds. I want to do a Bible study because I honestly believe I'm one of the only people in America that's bold enough to tell the truth about the Bible and study enough and not be biased towards a theological position if it's wrong. And I think a lot of people are not going to like the things that I say, but what I say will be backed up by scriptural proof. And if you're a truth seeker and you're a person who want to know the truth about God and you want to know to build a relationship, if I did a Bible study, it'll be one of the best ones you'll go to, best ones you'll partake in. I'm telling you guys, I feel like God has given me something, and the majority of Christianity has fallen away and lost their way. And I'm not talking about Christian people. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about theology that people have accepted in multiple facets that are not consistent with the scripture. And they're giving people a false sense of who Jesus was, a false sense of the things he said. Most Christians don't even have a biblical worldview. Why is that? Because they're not preaching the Bible. They created a Jesus that they want Jesus to be, not who Jesus really was. If you read the Bible and you leave it confident and be like, yeah, and that's all you believe, so you ain't reading. Every day you read the Bible, you should be like, okay, I feel hope, but I need to improve on these things. If you read the Bible and you think you got it all figured out and you don't have a level of conviction of saying a little bit of, oh crap, I need to get this together. Like, oh crap, I'm not living up to exactly what God has called me to do. Then you ain't reading the Bible. You can't read it without having conviction. And if you still going and doing secular stuff every day of the week, you don't even listen to Christian music or nothing. When you listen to music, you only listen to secular music, and you say you're a Christian, like something is missing there. And I'm not saying you're not a Christian. What I'm saying is that how do you do that and read the Bible at the same time? On a different note, Jesse Lee Peterson has a medical episode yesterday live on stage. He is fine. Just thought that he would let you know. Dang, I didn't even know that. Let's pray for him, man. I like Jesse Lee. He's not right about everything, in my opinion, but I like him. Love your content. Keep it 100%. Hey, thank you all for the super chat. Yep, read the Bible, people, and let the Holy Spirit give you Rema, revelation to you via Brandon. If you can't find the dispensational church that teaches biblical dispensation in the Bible, I'll say this. When people are going, who was Jesus talking about the synagogue of Satan? Go and do your research. Because the same people that use the quotes of synagogue of Satan and the same people that are saying that the original people, Israel, is somehow don't have a connection, they are the same people that say the Ashkenazi Jews don't have any DNA from Abraham, and they were wrong. I wrote an op-ed about it just recently, and I want to let a couple people read it because it's one of my first op-eds that I've written, so I want to make sure it's good. But I wrote an op-ed about this because people are flat out lying about Ashkenazi Jews not having bloodline from Abraham. And I think it's wrong. And so anyway, I wrote a little op-ed. I started to laugh about just the blank joke, and my son started cracking up with me. He didn't understand. What does it say?
But he also thought it was funny.
But he also thought it was funny. That is funny. Sometimes I wonder, do my 4-year-old know how to read? And he's just been lying to me this whole time. Anyway, love you guys. Got to get out of here. I'm out.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of